and welcome to the news across the country. SGF says President Buhari is committed to improving welfare of Nigerians. Ondo State Governor solicits for Amotekun to bear arms. Reports of the week 6. The opinions of analysts about the stance of federal government and that of ASU in the ongoing strike. Police launch manhunt for killers of 3 Enugu policemen. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF Mr. Boss Mustafa says President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to the improvement of Nigerians' welfare. Mr. Mustafa made the statement at the 2023 Population and Housing Census Pre-Fast meeting with partners in Abuja. The SGF, who was represented by Dr. Abiba Muda Lawal, Senior Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination, explained that practical demonstration has been given to this commitment through formulation and implementation of landmark projects in education, health, economy, infrastructure, and social investment drive. Mr. Mustafa added that the country's policies and programs were driven by the strong conviction that the people of Nigeria were the greatest assets in the development process. He described the April 2023 census as a historic moment for the nation that embodied national aspirations and commitment to take the nation to the highest pedestal of development planning. The federal government has ordered its ministries, departments, and agencies to comply with the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. The Director of Consolidated Accounts Department and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in Abuja, Mr. Abubakar Vevok, announced this at the 3-day nationwide training and capacity building program for public financial management operators in the 3 tiers of government. Mr. Vevok stressed that MDAs that fail to prepare their individual statement of account will be locked out of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. Similarly, the federal government has urged state and local governments, including other stakeholders in the country, to provide their statutory responsibilities for the National Youth Service Corps. The FCT Minister Alhaji Muhammad Musa Bello stated this in his address today while declaring open the 2022 NYC National Governing Board meeting with the 36th chairman of the NYC State Governing Boards, including FCT, held in Abuja. He said NYC is a strategic national institution that has continued to remain relevant by harnessing the potential of core members for national development. The minister was represented by the chairman NYC FCT Governing Board, a mandate secretary, Ajay Adiza Kabir, commended the performances of successive batches of core members during national assignments like elections, immunization against polio, hepatitis, meningitis, population and housing census, among others. He added that the Federal Capital Territory Administration will continue to perform its statutory roles for NYC. And Alhaji Bello stated further that one of the key responsibilities of all tiers of government is to ensure that youths are enabled with veritable platforms to contribute their quota to national development while also preparing them for future leadership roles. Governing Council of the University of Ilorin, Kwara State has determined to improve on the internally generated revenue of the institution through the importation of the multipurpose shea butter, otherwise known as Ori. Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Suleiman Abdulrazak, made this known while speaking at the premises of the institution in Ilorin. According to Professor Abdulrazak, the Department of Chemistry is coordinating the project, which seeks to improve the quality and shelf-life of shea butter. Professor Abdulrazak, who harped on the need for agricultural product to be processed to the end point, stressed that universities in the country should work tirelessly to develop products that cannot be preserved. Government has been called upon to focus more on programs and policies that would further enhance the well-being of mothers in the country. A retired nursing officer, Comrade Fabian Oyinlola, gave the advice while speaking with OSBC correspondent Femi Fadije at Erinle in Oyun, local government area of Kwara State. Comrade Oyinlola described mother as bedrock of any formidable home, which according to her must be given due attention to further ensure our worthy society. Mrs. Oyinola noted that mothers had played significant roles in the socio-economic and political emancipation of the country and be given their pride of place in the scheme of things. This is the news across the country coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Ile-Awiye Okebale Osogbo, Voice of the West. Now, our mid-news message. Your prime purpose in life is to help others, but if you cannot help them, don't turn them life. It's really simple. Recently, the federal government, through the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, said that it has done the best it can do for the Association of Teaching Staff Union of Universities, ASU, but the labor union has not ended its industrial action as it hammers that the federal government is not ready to give positive answers to its request. Side Adepoja in this report of the week sought the opinions of analysts about the stance of federal government and that of ASU in the ongoing strike. Here are its findings.
For close to 6 months, teaching and learning have been paralyzed in Nigerian universities due to the industrial action embarked upon by the Association of Teaching Staff Union of the Universities. Almost on a weekly basis, the federal government held meetings with the leadership of the union with a view to reaching a compromise. At a point, the non-teaching staff union withdrew its members from the strike, but ASU remains hell-bent that the federal government should implement its 2019 agreement on some requests, including an upward review of their salaries, adequate funding of the universities, and the need to neglect the IPPS mode of payment, which the union says it is laced with corrupt practices. Meetings upon meetings between the federal government and ASU, but all ended in a stalemate. Forced to take an action against continued strike, the federal government announced a no-work, no-pay system, which added salt to the injury, as the leadership of ASU insists that their 6-month arrears while on strike should be paid fully. Hence, the strike continues. But recently, the Minister for Education, Alhaji Adamu, came out publicly to say that the federal government has done all it could do for ASU, while the striking union says it cannot be deceived by mere words of the mouth. This has continued to generate reactions from individuals. One of those who spoke with this reporter was Alhaji Muritala Agbola, described as unfortunate the continued strike in the Nigerian universities. He, however, expressed hopes that a compromise will be reached soon with the new committee put in place. Alhaji Agbola also called the Nigerian universities to look inward on ways to generate funds in order not to rely solely on the federal government.
But unfortunately, the government left it too late. But like it said, it's better late than never. So these people are coming. You see, the government cannot say they have done all that they can. If you ask ASU will tell you they've done all that they can. The issue is now that the committee has been set up, they have to agree between themselves and then try to have a lasting solution. But my fear is this: the way we are going about it, because everybody is tired, the government, ASU, parents, students. So they will now want the easiest way out. But that easiest way out may not give us the lasting solution. Look, we need to sit down. What is the cross? We are universal. Let us, for God's sake, sit down once and for all and provide a lasting solution.
Speaking in the same vein, a veteran journalist, Mr. Olushola Ajiboye, said issues relating to education should be treated like that of security, noting that it will be deceitful to say that the federal government has done all it could do for ASU, as claimed by the Minister for Education. It's not good at all. Mr. Ajiboye submitted that public universities should not be held into ransom by any government.
Education should not be politicized. And I said that the problems in the education sector in Nigeria today now makes education a security issue. The moment government sees it as maybe whatever they give to ASU is a favor or whatever. No, education should not be seen as it's beyond politics.
OSBC report of the week. This is Saeed Adeboje reporting.
Former Permanent Secretary in Osun State, Mr. Aduade Amawu, says without history in the school curriculum, Nigerian students cannot undertake and understand any sensible inquiry into the political, social, or moral issues in the society at large. Mr. Aduade Amawu gave the assertion while exchanging views with OSBC News on the importance of history as a field of study in secondary and tertiary institutions in the country. Mr. Amawu spoke against the backdrop of reintroduction of history in secondary school curriculum, noted that over the years, history has exposed students to diverse areas as it also provides solutions to conflicting perspectives by situating complex viewpoints in time, placing, and identifying sciences in the historical record. While noting that history is the study of the past to interpret the present, Mr. Amawu maintained that history as a subject is capable of guiding the student to see trends and process it in broader and holistic perspectives. The educationists therefore implored government at all levels to give history its pride in the education curriculum. In the meantime, the Director General of Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Rashid Folaranmi, has espoused the ingenuity of the initiator of the Super Kids for developing the artistic talent of a cross-section of young Nigerian through amazing artwork, focusing the drawing of nationalists in Nigeria. The Director General of OSBC gave the commendation, sharing the course visit of 50 young talented artists who scaled through to the final competition of the 2022 Osun Super Kids Arts Contest. Mr. Folaranmi was represented by the OSBC Public Relations Officer Gbenga Famino, extolled the initiatives of the proprietor of the Super Kids Talent Show, Prince Babajide Adenle, for using the Super Kids platform to discover young talented artists. In his response, the initiator of the Super Kids Talent Show noted that the skill that was unveiled in OSBC is projected at encouraging the celebration of present and past national heroes in projects that will keep their memories aglow. He maintained that the prodigy of the 50 students will be made public at an exhibition scheduled to hold between 1st and 9th of next month at Olufunke Kolawole Lakeside Resort, Abiri. Osun State Chapter of Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOGE, has vowed to work against any political party that is against local government autonomy. The state president of the union, Dr. Nathaniel Ogungbangbe, stated this at the State Executive Council meeting held at Ologboega Noge Secretariat, Okejetu Osogbo. Dr. Ogungbangbe used the occasion to appreciate the state governor, Mr. Adigboyega Oshola, the Speaker, House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Uweye, and other members of the House for listening to the yearning and groanings of the masses. He, however, condemned some states that are not in support of local government autonomy, saying their refusal to pass same into law is an act that is anti-development. He therefore urged other states and House of Assemblies that are yet to pass local government autonomy bills to do so in the interest of the masses. Members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria have commenced a nationwide protest over crude oil theft. Journalists who were on ground at the Unity Fountain in Abuja observed that the oil workers carried banners with inscriptions such as chasing oil thieves and vandals out of business and oil theft is illegal. Speaking at the march that started from the Unity Fountain in Abuja this morning, Bengasin President Festus Usifu said President Muhammadu Buhari should give a marching order to heads of security agencies charged with the security of oil pipelines in the Niger Delta. He also threatened that oil workers will withdraw their services should the government fail to take decisive action against oil thieves. Ondo State's Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has again explained the need for officers of the Western Nigerian Security Network, codenamed Amotekun Corps, to bear arms than non-state actors, saying the security of lives transcends the protection of pipelines. Mr. Akeredolu, who is the chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum and the 17-member South Governors Forum, made the statement at the commissioning of the newly reconstructed office complex at the Ondo State Oil Producing Area Development Commission at Obale in the Akure North local government area of the state. To be recalled that Governor Akeredolu last week condemned the decision of the federal government to award a contract for the protection of pipelines in the South Sound to a private security company, as reviewed by the Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, during the 49th section of the State House briefing at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to a statement released by his Chief Press Secretary, Richard Olatunde, Southwest Governor spends their money on Amotekun, noting that the federal government should allow Amotekun to carry sophisticated weapons like those whom they awarded pipeline surveillance contracts. Enugu Police Command has begun a manhunt for the killers of 3 police officers along Upper Chime Avenue, New Haven, Enugu, the state capital. Confirming the incident, Enugu Police spokesman Jane Ndukwe said the command was on the trial of the suspect. Said the deceased policemen were on a moving patrol van when the assailants suddenly opened fire on them. He added that 3 of the officers sustained severe gunshot wounds but were later confirmed dead in the hospital. Ndukwe told newsmen that the intensive manhunt operation is ongoing to fish out the unknown assailant that suddenly opened fire on a moving police patrol van on duty, leading to 3 of the operatives sustaining severe gunshot wounds and later confirmed dead at the hospital. And now to sport, Anthony Joshua's team has accepted a call-out for a blockstar bout with Tyson Fury for the WBC heavyweight title. Adeyemi Abodere has more on sports update.
Former Nigerian national team coach Estin Oguavon has praised the Super Falcons despite their 2-1 loss to the United States women's national team. It was the second loss for the African champions after going down 4-0 on September 3rd at the hands of their international friendly rival, but Oguavon felt they were compact and displayed a solid game. To Oguavon, the display against the United States is a sign of growth by the Nigerian women's team that finished 4th in the 2022 Women's African Cup of Nations finals in Morocco, apart from a 7-1 win in the first ever meeting between the teams at the 1999 Women's World Cup and a 5-0 victory for the Americans in the 2003 World Cup group stage. Most of the meetings with Nigeria have been tightly contested. After the 2 friendlies against the USA, the Super Falcons are set to face Japan on October 6 in Kobe. The friendly matches against the USA were organized as part of preparations for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup scheduled to take place in Australia and New Zealand. Meanwhile, former England goalkeeper Robinson has slammed hard on Leeds United for failing to go all in for Leicester City forward Kelechi Iheanacho before the close of the transfer window. A miserable summer saw Leeds United lose key attacking figures like Rafinha and Daniel James to Barcelona and Fulham respectively without bringing in quality reinforcement. Reports suggest that Leeds were also interested in Nigerian international on that day, but nothing came out of that interest, with Leeds United now stuck with only 2 recognized strikers in Patrick Bamford and Rodrigo and a couple of youngsters. Leeds United barely escaped relegation last season, finishing 17th of 20 teams. In the meantime, national men's basketball team, the Tigers, has dropped 4 places to 9th place after the 4th window of the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 African qualifiers. The power ranking was released by FIBA, had Cote d'Ivoire already qualified in number 1 after becoming the first African team to qualify for the FIBA Basketball World Cup after a perfect 3-0 record in the latest qualification window in Abidjan and Monastery, leaving 4 tickets up for grabs for the continent of Africa. Anthony Joshua has reportedly accepted Tyson Fury's offer for their blockbuster British showdown. Joshua was on the surprising end of a call-out from Fury, who is not willing to wait around for Alexander Usyk to return next year. Anthony Joshua was offered a 40% split of what would be a record-breaking UK purse. A date in early November was initially put on the table, but Joshua can only return by December at the earliest. Fury also wanted to include a rematch clause, and Anthony Joshua's team are happy to comply so long as they get the lion's share in return if they win. Sport Update returns tomorrow. My name is Adeyemi Abodere.
And to end the news across the country, here again at the major point. Secretary to Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, says President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to the improvement of Nigerians' welfare. Ondo State Governor Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu has again explained the need for officers of the Western Nigerian Security Network, codename Amotekun Corps, to bear arms than non-state actors, saying the security of lives transcends the protection of pipelines. Report of the week sought the opinions of analysts about the strengths of federal government and that of ASU and the ongoing strike. Enugu Police Command has begun a manhunt for the killers of the 3 police officers along Upper Chime Avenue, New Haven, Enugu, the state capital. And that was the news across the country, edited by Nathaniel Oyugoke and delivered by Olushola Egbodofo. For more Ebaros, you can visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good evening.
You are live. On Osun Radio.
Community radio at its best.
104.5 FM.
Lia kulia bakali muyakase lia kaselia. Libra katalimu ya kali ya kalibra katelimu ya kasulia wakesa kasulia. Alagogo telewa wabi, oti wabi kombalo, oni jeke tamua, ogolo jole. Antransit kogilelu amawon.
Antransit repeat.
Efu ala ridi onike o, onike o. Efu ala ridi onike o. Oníke o, ẹ̀mí fẹ́ sọ̀kalẹ̀, àwọn ọmọ mi wọṣọ tí kò balẹ̀, ara yín ò balẹ̀, Chelsea àná bá kàbò dalẹ̀. Oníke bá ti kọ́ kẹ́kù wá lónígòmù o, ẹ̀mí fẹ́ sọ̀kalẹ̀, àwọn ọmọ mi wọṣọ tí kò balẹ̀, ara yín ò balẹ̀, Chelsea àná bá kàbò dalẹ̀. Kí ni mo fà náà, kí ni mo mú ẹbí mi? Kí ni mo fà lélẹ̀ o, kí ni mo mú? Ẹ̀wà wo ṣe àfọwọ́fà, àmójútó ní mẹ́fà, pẹ̀lú rep náà bí mẹ́fà, ìkó ọ́rìjì méje o. Kí ni mo fà lélẹ̀ o, kí ni mo mú? Ẹ̀wà wo ṣe àfọwọ́fà, àmójútó ní mẹ́fà, pẹ̀lú rep náà bí mẹ́fà, ìkó ọ́rìjì méje o. Iba ikaya kalimu aladakuli ayakasulema yatabuli yakasule yakalima yakasimu ekalakuli katakelemo sina kaselima yabusalaye ojú mi yí ẹsẹ̀ mi fi làgàlàgà ojú mi yí o ẹsẹ̀ mi fi làgàlàgà Facebook wáńjọ Twitter ṣúlọ́sà wá ń bí mi ká. Láìsí wá ń jọba ṣàlójú ẹ fún wa lóríjì oníke o, oníke o, ẹ fún wa lóríjì oníke o, oníke o, ẹ̀mí fẹ́ sọ̀kalẹ̀, àwọn ọmọ mi wọṣọ tí kò balẹ̀, ara yín ò balẹ̀, Chelsea àná bá kàbò dalẹ̀. Oníke bá ti kọ́ kẹ́kù wá lónígòmù o, ẹ̀mí fẹ́ sọ̀kalẹ̀, àwọn ọmọ mi wọṣọ tí kò balẹ̀, ara yín ò balẹ̀, Chelsea àná bá kàbò dalẹ̀.